What's going on, everybody? Gary B. Jr. here. Today, we're going to be talking about how to use the new bullet point line by line option in FreeShow. It's really cool. So let's check it out together. First things first, I've got a slide. This slide has multiple lines on it. This is a requirement for this process to work. This slide has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other lines in it, I should say. It actually has a text box and it's got a title box. And I don't know what this another line is. So I'm gonna delete that out. All right. All right. So that's there. What we would do, let me go back into my show. So you would typically see your show and it'll be something like this. And then if you go into that particular show, it'll just pop up, right? So if I go back, all right, computer, and then recommendations, they all just show up currently, or if you've not set this feature up. All right. So what we're gonna do is we want these to show up one at a time without making 5 different slides for each line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different lines for each of those slides to be added into it. But it's gonna function more now like PowerPoint would, where you put all 5 lines on one slide and then just arrow through and they'll automatically show up. Okay. So let's look at that. If I go to edit, and I've got my text box here where I actually have, these could be bullet points. So I can go in here and I can make these be a list by just selecting here. And then you can pick what the list is going to look like. It could be circles, squares, whatever you want. We'll do numbers. All right. And the alignment of this, we're going to set it to be to the left. All right. And I think we're good. Now, we got that done. If I go back, let's go and look at what it looks like now. So if we show it now, it looks like this. All right. 1 through 5, actually 6 is there. We're going to delete that extra space. All right. So there's a line there. I can delete that. And now we'll just have 5 lines. If I refresh, you'll see 5 lines. All right. But what we need to do is we want them to fly in one at a time or show up one at a time. So I can right click on this and I can go to item actions, and it's just for this text box item. Okay. And then you can select the option. The first one says reveal on click. The next one says reveal line by line. So I can select that and you'll see this little icon show up here with a solid line and then dash lines up under it. So now if I go to show and we go back to this particular show, all right, to this particular slide, the one right before it, and I arrow to the right one time, check it out. Recommendations show up. And then my first bullet point shows up with the number 1 to it. Now, one thing I did say in my previous video about bullet points was to make sure they all are aligned to the top. You don't have to worry about that now because now they'll fly in and they'll do what they need to do without you having to do that. So I'd say fly in. They'll show up. All right. So I can do arrow to the right again. The next point comes up, arrow to the right again. The next point comes up again and again. All right. And that was all from one slide. And I just hit my arrow key multiple times to see it. All right. Now, as a presenter, what you'll see is you'll see something like this, where you'll see these red boxes around it, right? So when you go to that slide, you're going to know, okay, there's a red box around that. So you can just click in here and it'll keep showing up and you'll see a little bar show you the progress. You click again and the red boxes go away as you progress through each line. And so it shows you got 3 lines left. You click one more time, you got 2 lines left, and that progress bar keeps moving forward. You can click again, and I can use my right arrow key either way, and it'll progress you through. All right. Now, one of the cool things about PowerPoint was that you can always make things kind of fly in and stuff like that. And so if I right click on this and we say transition, let's see if we can get it to actually fly in. So I can say slide, and I'm gonna just keep it at 0.5 and we're gonna make it flow. Okay. So we'll close that out and you'll notice now we've got this transition icon with the 2 circles overlapping, and we'll go to show. We're gonna go back to our previous slide and let's see what happens here. All right. Got that one. Nothing shows up yet, right? All those red boxes are there. And now it slides in and then it slides out and the next one comes in with it. All right. So they kind of transition in that way. If I come back out and I escape, let me click out of here. That was me hitting escape. So it cleared out the whole thing. If I go back here, all right. So if we go to edit and I right click on this transitions again, let's make sure we got this working properly or the way that it can work, the best it can. Okay. So I can enable more specific actions. Okay. It's got an in and an out. All right. So it slides in. For the out, I'm going to say none. okay? And let's see if that fixes anything. We don't want it to do anything out. So we'll say show. We're gonna go back here and let's make it big. I'm gonna arrow to the right, shows up our title, shows the number 1, and it still goes out and it brings both of them in and vice versa. And it kind of is a cool effect to where it's kind of like I think about an old school typewriter where it kind of goes out and then comes back in and then it brings in the next ones with it. Okay. So that's one way to do it. All right. The other way you can do this transition is you can make it do a fade or something along those lines, or a blur, right? So you can make it blur in, and I've got my out off. It's just on none. Okay. And we can say close and let's check that out. We'll go back to the previous one and pop this up to be big for you guys. It shows up that way. And as a matter of fact, let me double check just to make sure that it's doing that, because sometimes the output is a little bit different than it shows up to be. So let's pull this down and I'm going to set up my screen. I'm going to go to my settings real quick and I'm going to set up my output to be for my primary to be this monitor so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right. So now I'm going to go to show, and this is what the audience will see. Okay. So they got recommendations there. I arrow to the right. They see Apple Pro Max and it shows up here, 14-inch, and it does the same thing. So this is what your audience will be seeing. This is the full screen of what they would see. All right. And hopefully that makes sense for you guys in terms of how the line by line options work in FreeShow. All right. And so really cool feature. I like it a lot. I think it's effective at what it needs to do. And that's the first thing, is it should just show your slides. All right. Show your slides, show them line by line. And it does that. If you want to add transitions, that's what it'll look like. If you don't like the transitions, you can just turn them off. All right. There's another option that's new that we want to touch on just a bit. And it just says reveal on click. So I can select that and I can deactivate the line by line. All right. And let's see what that is, how it's a little bit different. Okay. So I'm on the previous slide. I can arrow over. Now I turned off line by line. So I've got a title here. And now I can actually set a text box to reveal when I arrow to the right, even though it's all on the same slide. It's not on a separate slide, like I'm progressing to the slide, but when I arrow over, it shows all of them. And so that's the reveal with the click. And then we also have the line by line option as well. All right. And so these are both really, cool updates that make FreeShow much more, I'm not going to say user-friendly, but it's something that's more traditional in terms of the approach of how you would make a slide, where your first thought is to put all the notes that you want on one slide there, all your notes that you want on another slide there, and then you bring those notes in one at a time as needed. And so this is a way that you can do that simply by going to the edit page on your slide. You right click on your text box and select item actions and select reveal line by line. All right. And when you do that, and then you got the option for the click, I'm going to turn that one off and I'm going to keep the reveal line by line on, and it will show up line by line. All right. Now, when it does it line by line without any special transitions, it shows up and the next one comes in with it. All right. And they come in together and they don't disappear and come back. All right. That's only if you turn on transitions on that text box. All right. But this way is very effective. You can have your text centered vertically, or you can have it aligned to the top vertically, or it's okay, or to the bottom, but it can be centered and it's just fine as well, without there being any particular issues on the way that it's displayed in FreeShow. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope it helped you in a major way. Now, at this point, most people would ask you to like and subscribe, and I think that's great, but my goal is a little bit different. My goal is to empower as many people as possible all over the globe. And there's one way that you can really help me do that, and that is to leave a comment below with a question, a thought, how this video may have helped you, or things that were left out that you still have questions about, and to share this video with someone just like you, someone who is looking for answers, someone who's curious and wants to grow. With your help, I believe we can build a community of people that want to grow together. So until next time, God bless.